told me they just want the house. And I said it's hard to believe that.
Hey, I just logged on some
cool.
with Portia. How you doing, Portia?
Wonderful, Rick. How are you?
Doing great, doing great.
All right, good. Who y'all got coming on the show today?
We have this crew out of Ohio that's doing a Juneteenth conference.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Keys to Wealth.
Oh, send them our way for the morning show because we need some Juneteenth guests too.
Okay.
Come on sometime next week.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll make sure.
Okay, perfect. I already transferred the host privileges.
Okay.
Let me know if you need anything. I don't have my phone in my hand, so if you need anything, just text me.
Okay. All right.
Okay, y'all have a great show.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So you can log on, son.
Okay.
Ready.
And yeah, so just a lot going on in this world.
That's it.
I mean, it's a lot.
Do you want to talk about the rally? Kind of mention that in Tulsa and Juneteenth.
Perspectives. I think I want to start out by talking about financial freedom, and what that means, especially during this time, that we need to get as much information, as we can, and just give, some information around that urgency and importance. And yeah, you can say, what do you think about that? And then that way I can, say my part, and then we can say, then we can talk to that's so nice. And then we can talk to them,
Okay.
bring them in, and it's kind of, I think I want to say, not to get distracted, not for us to get distracted, but it is a dangerous recipe. Did you see the app that I sent you? Did I send it to you? The Black Wall Street app that released?
No. Who did it?
I sent it to me. BWS, Black Wall Street app is here. Discover amazing Black-owned businesses on the go. Okay, let's see. Yeah, they sent it to me, but they don't have, I'm gonna have to go look it up. Let me see, I'm gonna send this to you. But yeah, it looks pretty sleek.
Oh, okay.
So,
I mean, I've seen a lot of those apps come and go, but I'm telling you, the piece they're missing is video.
Yeah.
Now you can do the app, you can create all those listings, but now you have to make that app interactive. If you don't make it interactive, if you don't make it like engaging, it's just another. It's like a directory. It's cool, but it's a directory. So.
Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah.
It's logged on, son. Okay. Hey, what's going on, David?
What's up, man? How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. Nice to meet you, man. I like the shirt, man.
Appreciate it. Nice to virtually meet you as well, man. We're rocking the black and gold.
So you got the black and gold. I'm rocking black and gold. You wearing black and gold, Sonya?
No.
I sure ain't get the message.
I was about to say, I thought you got the memo. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for joining, David. What's going to happen, man? We're going to at 12 when we go live, we'll put your screen on mute, like
Okay.
screen, and then we'll bring you and Brandy on. So yeah, well,
I think I need to change my name on the. I'm showing up as
everybody start out as
Oh, okay, cool.
just because of the link. So
So there's only one.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm saying that's a lot to live up to, man. I mean, you know.
Come on, man. Y'all doing big things in Ohio, man.
Man, appreciate it. Appreciate it.
David, any key points you want to mention about yourself in terms of like who you are, accomplishments, and things like that?
You know, I've been in the financial industry for almost a decade now. You know, I ran an agency with 50 licensed agents. So just, you know, just kind of highlighting that this is what I've been doing for a long time. You know, it's not like we just started in the wealth movement. So
okay, cool. How you doing, Brandy?
Hey, what's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm good. Change your name on the bottom. Everybody, will you if you click in the right corner, the top right corner?
Yep.
Change it.
All right, here I come. Let's see.
Yeah, Sonya will be logging on in a second. Was there anything that you wanted me to mention in terms of who you are, Brandy, and your accomplishments?
I guess you could just a seasoned financial service professional. I've been in the industry obviously 15 years now, so various you know, engagements as far as, you know, the industry is concerned. So just a seasoned professional in the financial service industry, a leader, a thought leader in the movement.
Okay, got it. So when we start, we will put the video on hold for you guys, for David and Brandy, and we'll do an introduction, you know, like 5-minute introduction, and then set the tone for the show, and then we'll bring you guys on. All right.
Okay.
So where is it going live from? Is it a particular page on Facebook?
Yeah, it'll be on Rolling Out's page on Facebook.
Okay.
Oh, that's what I need to go in.
500,000 followers on there. So. Got about 4 minutes before we go live.
Okie dokie.
You- Okay, cool. Let me hang it. Yeah, Sonya should be coming on in a second.
Let me in.
You're in?
There
No.
she is.
Okay.
Hi,
Hello, hello.
how's everybody?
Good. How are you today?
I am doing good. Let me see. I don't want to be Rick Mathis. Maybe I should. I can get away with saying stuff. Be like, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
Now I got a question because I done heard it pronounced two different ways. Is it Sonya or is it Sonya?
It's Sonia.
Sonya.
Thank you
Okay.
for
So,
asking. Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. S-O-N, Sonia with an I. So my mom wanted to be a little different.
Okay. That's all good.
In there.
Makes you stand out.
Yeah, but it means woman of wisdom.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
You
what
learn
I
something new
said.
every day. You learn something new every day.
Right, yeah, Sonia means wisdom. Did you know that, Rick? Yeah.
We're not. That's appropriate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so.
So we have about 2 minutes, so I'm going to put you guys in the waiting.
I want my shirt to show. Well, I don't have a good shirt on today. I don't have an appropriate shirt on today, so.
We got to get you a Keys shirt.
I want a key shirt. Mine says flip it, and I don't want to flip it.
You and Rick.
Yeah, I need one.
Cool.
Y'all got some mask and everything. I'm like, I need some of that.
So I'm gonna put you guys in the holding area, and then I'll bring you back on in a couple of minutes, okay?
All right, let's forward to it.
There we are. All right, we're about ready. Ready, Sonya?
I'm ready.
Sonya.
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay, I'm hitting live. It's about 1 o'clock.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. You had me muted. You were trying to mute me out.
No, you're not muted. I think we are ready.
I have things to say today.
Exactly. I know you have a lot to say. It's a lot.
I will not be silenced.
So, welcome to another episode, another webisode of the New Code of Wealth. I'm your host, Rick Mathis, alongside the illustrious Sonya Booker. How you doing today?
I am doing really good. I am, it's a lot going on. And I feel like I've probably said that every show since we've started. I think this is like our 5th show.
It's 5th or 6th. I think it's
5th or 6th. I'm so proud of us that we started the show to talk about, you know, the need and the necessity to pivot during a pandemic. And then, you know, as everything has continued to unfold, it's just like, wow, we could not have seen this much happening, and that the show, I feel, has been very helpful. And I thank people for watching it. So those who are logging on, we've had great response, great viewership. Like and share this video, like and share it. We're gonna be doing some watch parties, you know, over the weekends after the shows and stuff. So just a lot of great information, and that is what we need right now. And before I turn it back to Rick to get us going, I'm Sonya Booker, the Wealth Builder, and I am a real estate developer, activist in the Atlanta area, and you know, really just a person who wants to bring good information through my books and teachings and speaking, and really show the power of ownership and wealth building using real estate and land and all those great things, multiple streams of income, entrepreneurship. That is my platform, what I'm all about, and I'm happy to be in your car, on your phone, on your computer, wherever you're tuning in. Welcome, and thank you, and like and share this video. We're going to be getting started. And who are you, Rick?
Definitely like and share this video. My name is Rick Mathis. I'm a filmmaker based here in Atlanta, Georgia. I produced a film series called Black Friday, which deals with how we as African Americans value a dollar and the importance of leaving a legacy for the next generation. That's right. What this show is all about is leaving a legacy. It's about wealth building, but most importantly, it's about pivoting during the coronavirus and also during these the pandemic. You know, the race riots or whatever if you call them, the protesting that's going on. You know, so it's about pivoting and succeeding and winning during these times. How you do that? You know, why is it important to do that? Why is ownership important? You know, so those are some of the things that we talk about. Those are some of the hot buttons that we press. So we have a great show ahead today. We have a group that's out of Ohio, Brandy Avery and David Eberry. And they have an event coming up in celebration of Juneteenth. As many of you know, Juneteenth is a week from now. And for those who don't know, Juneteenth was actually the day that the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. So if you look at, you know, the timeline in which African Americans were here in America back in 1619, that's when some of the slave ships arrived here with our ancestors on board as cargo, as the first stock that was actually sold on Wall Street. You can look that up. Our ancestors were the first stock that was sold on Wall Street. That's why when you look at being in the black, being in the red, you know, that's symbolic to us. You know, if you had a healthy enslaved stock, which was our people, you were in the black because you had black enslaved people. If you killed the stock that you had, which were our ancestors, then you had blood on your hands, so you were in the red. So that actually, you know, I was actually informed that by the great Anthony Browder. You know, if y'all don't know him, definitely look him up, man. He's a historian. He deals a lot with ancient Egyptology. But he speaks about that in Black Friday in one of the films, you know, being in the black and being in the red, and us being the first stock that was sold on Wall Street. So, you know, to give you a timeline, back in 1619, that was the start of slavery. In 1776, the Declaration of Independence was signed. In 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, which we know as Juneteenth. And in 1942, it then became illegal to have slave anywhere, because in the South, they were still practicing slavery. And if you look at it, one of the things that Anthony Browder said, that if it wasn't for cotton, America would be like a third world country, because cotton back then was like the oil or the gold of today. You know, so if it wasn't for cotton and it wasn't for our ancestors being brought over here to work those fields and to create that wealth, then you know, America would be like a third world country. So, you know, it's important that we know that. It's important that we know that part of our history. So we have some people that are coming on today that's going to talk about Juneteenth, that's going to talk about this great conference that they have coming up in celebration of Juneteenth, and pretty much just how to be informed, and the importance of ownership and the importance of building wealth. So we got a great show today, Sonia.
Yes, we do. And I was liking and sharing the video myself. So yeah, I'm really excited that this is happening. I don't think there's any better freedom to have in this time than financial freedom. And so this is what, you know, this is all about. I think when we think about all the history that you just talked about, I think what comes to my mind is how we were free, or how we've been free, but because we have not gained our financial freedom, it still keeps us in a form of bondage and in a form of slavery. And so this is, you know, I can't even think of a better time, even, you know, with Trump planned rally at, you know, Oklahoma. We'll get our guest, you know, take on that. You know, when we start thinking about the Black Wall Street in Oklahoma and Tulsa, and just the pride and joy around that, and looking at our ancestors and people who, you know, managed to build a community, a system of working together. And, you know, when we think about the reason it was burned down is because it was actually working. And so, you know, that is really disheartening to understand, but I do want to remind us that we can't get distracted by anything that the enemy, that Trump, that anybody has planned. So the lack of information we know we perish for. And so we really want to use this weekend to reconnect to our roots, to connect to good information. And I could not think of a better weekend and a better group that's putting this on, you know, than Brandy and her partner, David. So.
Awesome, awesome. Well, you know, let's get into it. Once again, this is the New Code of Wealth. I'm your host, Rick Mathis, and alongside Sonia Booker. Please like and share this video so that, you know, we can get more people engaged and get more people aware of what's going on today. The first person that we want to introduce is Brandy Avery. We actually had the opportunity to feature Brandy in one of the Black Fridays. We shot we were in Cancun at an event that she co-produced. So they brought us out to screen the film, and we actually did some shooting there. So it was actually a lot of fun. You know, I definitely need a vacation now. But she's a 15-year vet in the financial industry, teaching financial literacy and things of that, and just really being a trumpet or a champion, if you will, of financial literacy. So without further ado, we definitely want to bring her on. See if we can bring Brandy on and get this show rolling. Let's see. All right, are you there, Brandy?
I am here. I am here.
Good, good.
Brandy.
Welcome to the New Code of Wealth. We're actually bringing your partner on as well. So we want you to give us a brief introduction, about 30-second introduction, and we'll bring your partner on, David.
Okay, perfect. First of all, thank you both, Rick and Sonia, for having me on today. Like Rick said, we've had a couple of engagements in the industry. My name is Brandy Avery. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and I've been in the financial service industry operating now for about 15 years. This is actually the only career that I've had is in this space. So various different lenses that I get to see finances from. Started off in hospital finance, and fast forward to today, I'm a co-founder of Keys to Black Wealth, which is a multimedia and edutainment firm. And we're going global right now. And our whole purpose is to solve the racial wealth gap.
Love
Excited
it.
to be here.
Awesome.
Love it. So let's get your partner, David, in. David DeBerry. Okay. All right, are you in, David?
Unmuted, but I don't see myself yet. Here we go.
We should be coming up in a second.
Yeah, I'm here.
There he
I
is.
joined the party now.
Yeah, party started now. We can get it started now.
Get it started.
So give us a quick 30-second introduction of who you are and, you know, some of the things that you've been involved with.
Well, I appreciate you guys having us on here, and you know, I respect both of you guys just by doing the research on you guys, you know, and you know, we're happy here to be here, and you know, just really be promoting this movement that we're doing. But I've been in the financial services industry now for almost a decade. I actually went to college and graduated with a criminal justice degree. Thought I wanted to be an attorney all my life until I worked in a courthouse and realized I didn't want to do that. And then I went into education, and I love teaching the kids, but I just didn't love them paychecks that was attached to it. So, you know, I got involved in the financial industry and just really became passionate about it. Started growing my own agency. Right now I have 50 licensed agents that work in my agency right now. And I reached out to Brandy. She's a shaker and a mover in the industry. I was like, we gotta start Keys to Black Wealth. We gotta spice it up a little bit. I'm sure we're gonna talk about it here. But then from there, it just started turning into a movement now. And like she said, we're just going from the local level to, you know, national, international, to the global level. So once again, appreciate you guys for having us on.
Awesome. Well, you know, this show is about pivoting. You know, right now we've been ushered into the digital age, and I'm sure at the top of 2020, you guys didn't plan to have this conference totally online, this 3-day conference, right? So you guys made a pivot. So share with us, if you will, how that came about, the technology that was used, the importance of doing it. I'm sure you guys thought several times maybe about canceling it, rescheduling it. So, you know, share with us, you know, how you made the pivot.
Yeah, so I'll start off and I'll let David close it out. So just like you said, we had our whole 2020 year planned. Everything was signed, sealed, and delivered. You know, contracts was out. We were ready to go, ready to rock and roll. And then obviously, you know, COVID-19 hit. And, you know, just like the rest of the world, you know, you either pivot or, you know, you kind of lay down and wait, you know, for, you know, the world to open back up. And we're entrepreneurs. So, you know, the number one thing that you do as an entrepreneur is you solve a problem. You know, we're solutionists. So, you know, those skill sets, you know, that you gain as entrepreneurs actually helped us with our pivot. But thank God we actually had technology a part of our organization. We've already operated as a team in the financial technology and in the fintech space. So we're able to just lean on those skills and hone in on those skills. And, you know, we actually didn't blessed to not miss a beat. We immediately made that pivot, went from doing in-live personal events to moving all of our events to virtually. And from there, that's when we started, you know, hey, we still got to move forward. You know, our mission still is here. We're still being called to walk in our purpose. So really, we're just obedient vessels at this point. And, you know, we're just doing what we're guided to do. And we made that pivot. And now here we are coming up on our first live international event that'll take place on Juneteenth.
I love it.
That's really awesome. And to your point, Brandy, I think it was Forbes or somewhere that said the entrepreneurs are the best during a pandemic, because we're always in somewhat of a pandemic. You know, we're always uncertain, unknown, scared, fearful. You know, it's like
That part.
have our little personal pandemics, you know, that happen. And so it's like, you know, and you're always just, you know, what's next? How do I move? How do I keep going? Because what you become committed to is you're committed to being an entrepreneur. So whatever that takes, you know, is how it ends up, you know, going. So that was really good. And I think there's something to be said about how fast you guys were able to pivot. And I just would like to hear, you know, as we talk a little bit more about the conference, do you think that the pivot has some benefits, having to do it virtual? What kind of benefits do you think that have you seen?
Yeah, so that whole phrase, in every crisis, there's an opportunity. You really got to find that opportunity in every single crisis. And, you know, there is a crisis going on with the pandemic and things of that nature, but it just highlighted what was already going on behind the scenes, and it just brought it more to light. So, you know, just pivoting to this virtual, at first we were like, man, like we had plans to, you know, go on tour with this, travel with this, but there's been a virtual space with these summits for the last few years. And I've seen other people in different, you know, races, ethnicities really take advantage of the virtual space. And sometimes we're always late to the party, but once we're in the party, we take over the party. So
right, we
like, here now, we at the party now, we're going to do it. We're going to do it bigger, better. And so, yeah, so it's definitely had its benefits because it's forced us to think globally. And the reason why we call it Black wealth instead of African-American wealth is because everybody doesn't identify as African American. We were saying we need to be on a global level, hit the diaspora. We need to be in Africa. We need to be in Jamaica. Wherever Black people is, we need to be there. And even if they're a little less Black and they brown, we need to be there too. So it really forced us to think globally, and it's definitely been an opportunity inside of that crisis.
That's interesting terminology. Like I didn't even question or think. I'm like, Black, yeah, Black. You know,
all strategic. We're very strategic.
I'm like, yeah. African American kind of summit, you know, Black or Black. Well,
So who are some of the guests that you're going to have on this conference? Who are some of the names?
Well, we're gonna have the amazing Sonia. Sonia Booker
Yeah,
is gonna be on our
yeah,
conference,
yeah,
real estate mogul.
yeah.
We've been all up in her business, and she's absolutely dynamic. So just
And
really,
before you go to more, I have to just shout out Mike Johns because I'm going to make sure I send him this video if he's not, watching, because he's just been amazing, and he actually connected, me and Brandy from LA. He's in the digital space real big, and he's one of the speakers as well.
he
And
is.
he starts dropping it. It'd be like, you better get on, get your notepad together.
Oh yeah. We got Mike Johns. He's actually one of our feature speakers. He's going to be talking about the racial wealth gap in the digital the digital mindset.
Yeah.
The digital divide. Master P, of course, we got the GOAT, coming in.
Oh.
And if you've been following him, he's really been talking about ownership and power. This has been his space for a long, long, long time. A lot of people don't know that Master P has just really been leading as far as the financial awareness movement is concerned as it relates to Black people and having ownership. Romeo Miller, those two will be talking about generational wealth, his father-son duo. That's going to be on Father's Day. We got Ray J and Willie Norwood coming in as well. So they're going to talk about generational wealth as well. And just really the state of the Black family. We really need to be able to see that right now. That's going to be really important, especially coming out of the protest and just really, everybody's energy as far as what's going on with the race riots right now. We have, so many more people. Jalen Parks out of Columbus, Ohio. She's a world renowned attorney. She's a millennials attorney. She's coming in. Ariel Lauren. She's going to be talking about credit. You got the Keys to Black Wealth team. We'll be in there. We got Sean Ross, who's going to be a part of this as well. So it's just so many people who's a part. It's Omarosa Newman, Lisa Ray. It's going to be a stacked house. So again, like David said, we taking over the space now. So we're bringing the party.
And Dawn Dickens, like you said, you didn't name all of them. They're on but Dawn, just special shout out to her. She's amazing in the digital space, in the VC capital space, and like the things she's been able to accomplish. Like I'm just always like, Dawn,
She's the first African American woman who's ever been able to raise $1 million through Regulation CF crowdfunding, and she's done it twice.
Yep.
Twice. So what the keys at, David? Look,
for some
keys
down.
We got to teach y'all our brand. So if y'all ever been to a poetry event where people are snapping their fingers, you gotta have your keys ready. You gotta drop the keys. I don't even got mine on me, but that's the signature of our event. Is every time you hear a key drop, you shake those keys.
Okay, so tell us, like, for the audience sake, like, because I want people to go to Keys to Black Wealth Summit.com. But describe, like, because I'm looking at that thing and I'm like, there's performances, there's networking, like, I can't even wait. So, just sort of describe.
We're technology because, like you said, y'all were already in the tech space. So it was just an easy pivot because it was already like information and know-how that you already have. But share with our viewers, if you will, if they're thinking of hosting a conference or a seminar or something like that online, how do you go about doing that? Give us like the 1, 2, 3 steps.
Gotcha. So I think the unique thing about we're not basic. Nothing about the Keys of Black Wealth is basic. Yeah. So if people thinking it's just we're about to just come in and watch a live stream, they're in for a surprise. The platform that we have is going to blow people's mind because you're going to be able to actually speed network with people. Mm-hmm. Think about making connections with hundreds of people over the course of that weekend. And we call it like business Tinder. You both got to be able to connect. So if you're not feeling somebody, you ain't got to connect with them. But if you are, you get a full report of everybody you connected with over that weekend. We got virtual expo. So we got vendors tables. So you're going to be able to look over 50 different Black-owned businesses, be able to connect with them right inside their virtual vendor table, virtual expo. And then we got the live stage, we got the chat room. It's as close to an in-person experience as you can get. So I just think if somebody wants to throw a virtual event, they have to think, how can I be unique? How can I be different than what I've been seeing, taking place? And that's what we're all about, just, being unique and being innovative. So I think people are going to be in for a great surprise when they tune in to our Juneteenth celebration.
Yeah, and I just want to, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, no,
I just wanted to add to Rick's point, just really about the technology piece and, that piece and was it an easy switch for us? I mean, for us, it really wasn't, it wasn't that difficult, but it's all about just being prepared and being ready. You know, as entrepreneurs, I go back to that. We're already like plan A, B, C, you know, already prepared for plan A, B, C, and D anyway. We do events. So we have had as an organization over 15 events. We've served, you know what I'm saying, over 1,000 people in the year of 2019 through our events alone. So we've done events before. So this is our space, and we've done virtual events as well. But we still have to do that due diligence. We still have to plan, be prepared. And as David said, you know, everything we do, we want to do big. So we just say, you know what, going into the network, thank God that people believe in the mission and the brand of Keys to Black Wealth, because really everyone really got behind it and supported us. And when they heard what we wanted to do for Juneteenth, and this was before the protests. We were, our Keys of Black Wealth this is who we are and what we do in general. So it just happens to be perfect because everybody needs that positivity, and they also need the keys. They need the tangibles. Like, people need to know how to get the bag.
Mm-hmm. And that was going to be my question. So you say that your mission is to solve the racial wealth gap. How do you define that, and how do you do that? How will Keys to Black Wealth and just what you guys doing, how will you solve that?
Yeah, so we basically, our approach to this is education, mentorship, and programming. So, you know, we aim to provide relevant, culturally relevant financial education, mentorship, and programming. And we do that in a unique way with our brand, which is through edutainment. So if you look at our brand, we believe that you have to meet people where they are. And again, we're very focused and defined on who our market is. And that's one of the great things about Keys to Black Wealth. Our brand, our mission is to be able to service Black people, period. And we know when we're talking to Black people like to be entertained. You know what I'm saying? So bring the way that we used to do education, David and I, we're financial advisors, we're financial professionals. So we're the people who's been in this industry for a long time. We both are life insurance. David's an investment advisor. You know, we both wear many hats. But when we start looking at this, and when David first approached me, he's like, we really need something creative because we're getting to people, but we're not really getting to them. So we have to go a little deeper and get in the innovation space. And that's where the edutainment comes to play. So we're able to, like, kind of, as David said, we trick them in a room. You know, we have these events like you're at the club and stuff.
Entertain them and then educate them.
There you go. Yeah. So
you showed up for the concert, but.
Yeah, we kind of, that's where you're literally in a club. You got your drinks, you got your DJs, you got the whole thing like you're in a club, but we're talking about financial wealth. We're talking about Black wealth. So that's our approach to solving the racial wealth gap, is to be able to deliver content. We're a multimedia brand, and that's to be able to deliver content in the form of education, mentorship, and education, and that's through entertainment.
So yeah, if I can also chime in, we always heard that entrepreneurship can be a lonely journey. And we've all heard that, and I know we've all felt that. I felt that a lot of times, but I didn't realize how many successful Black people there is out here, but they can feel alone too. And a lot of times they want to mentor people. It's just, where can we find the people that want to learn, and where can we find the mentors? So we feel like if we can bridge the two gaps right there, I would have never knew a Sonia Booker if it wasn't for this platform, or Rick Mathis. Like, I wouldn't have known those people, and those people really want to give back, and they also want to solve that problem. So they said, I heard this phrase, that the shortcut to success is mentorship. And that helps.
So true.
That is,
so
yes, exactly.
True. Yeah. And I think that, you know, to your point, I think you hit something. I feel like you should, at any level, have, you know, you should be mentoring, and you should have a mentor, you know, because there's always someone coming behind you that knows less than you do, that if they just knew what you know would be good. And then, you know, and so it's a stat situation. So I think that is, it is a shortcut. It's like, you know, and then I feel like that's what I do with my books and things of that. Like, I don't want you to make the same mistake that I made. Like, why would you're going to pick up a book by any, you know, given expert or person who's done something, and it's like you're starting at a level that you don't have to go back to, because you're starting at a whole nother level. And that's from a generational wealth, legacy building, anything. We have to be able to starting people, our kids, our friends, you know, off at levels that everybody's not going back, starting over. And I think that's been the biggest, you know, downfall of our community, Black community, that we're not able to just pick up and build off. We're always starting back and then get to a level and then and it always starts over. And
Yeah.
so that I think that there's a captive audience like never before. I don't think that there has ever been a time where there's a hunger, where people understand, like, I have to do something different. I have to, my life, my very life and livelihood depends on me doing it. And if we had tried to, express the importance of some of these things a year ago, or even 60 days ago, the resistance would have been like, I'm good, stuff good, what I need to do all that for. And now we realize that every system, everything that could have fallen, that could have been brought to its knees, have been brought to its knees. And now, how do you rebuild your own financial household? How do, as America's rebuilding, or that as we're all in that reset mode, how do you reset your household? Making sure, starting with that foundation. And so, I know you have a world-renowned, I believe she's from Cleveland or maybe Detroit, but like real estate agent. And, like I'll be talking a lot about land and real estate, and the idea that, as we're talking about reparations and stuff, we need some land. Like
Yes.
we can build it, but we gotta have land. That's our foundation. That's the foundation of everything. And so I think that that's real important, that you're stacking it with that. And I encourage people to start thinking about resetting their financial life in this very moment.
Yeah, and ownership of land is so important. I mean, as we look back at Black Wall Street back in 1920, the early 1900s, when it was burned down in 1921, and what we own there because of the land, because we own the land, those
and then they built the businesses and
and those businesses, they went there and they found land and they founded Black Wall Street. And now, when you fast forward today and you see Trump is planning a rally on Juneteenth
in Oklahoma.
I don't know if it's going to be on Black Wall Street, but what are you guys' thoughts on that? I mean, is that like what's your thoughts on that?
Well, back to the land piece, that's so important. My family, we own 33 acres of land in my hometown. My grandfather had a construction company, 80 employees. Unfortunately, he bought that land in June of 95, and he was murdered in December of 95. So only got to spend 5 months on that. That's another thing about our community. Once you get up and you want to reach back, you kind of got to be careful in that instance who's envious of you and all of that too as well. But that ownership is so important. But just after he passed away, then my grandmother passed away, you also got to be able to transfer that ownership too.
Right.
A lot of people can get stuff, but can you keep it? Like you said, going through those generations. As far as back to the to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Juneteenth and Mr. Trump, I don't believe anything he does is like unintentional. I believe he intentionally, him and his cabinet, picked that date, picked that time, picked that location for a specific reason. Now, we're not in his heart, in his mind. I don't know. Is he trying to, quote unquote, he wants to bring the country together in the whole racial unity movement and admit America's wrongs for what they did? I mean, unless you're going to cut a check plus interest on what happened, I'm not really interested in hearing that. And that's just my whole concept, I guess, my whole thought process with all of this. Unless you're cutting a check with interest, then I'm not really interested in all the fluff about it. But I really say it is interesting, and I'm interested to see if he actually goes through with it, because I know it's going to get all type of backlash. I'm interested to see Trump supporters with the Black Lives Matters movement. I don't think too much good can come from it. That's just my personal opinion. I don't see too much good that can come from it. But at this point, I guess we're going to wait and see, huh?
Yeah. I think he's throwing shade. I think this is a shade. I think he's throwing shade against the Black Lives Matter, because his address is now 1600 Black Lives Matter, because they painted that on DC. So I think this is a response to that personally. That's my thought. But yeah, to David's point, I don't feel like it's gonna be any good. What's going on with the Trump movement and what his followers believe. It's definitely not unity. It doesn't feel good. It's not inclusive to everyone. So with that being said, I mean, you know, I don't think any good is going to come out of it. If there is any good that comes out of it, it may continue to fuel, you know what I'm saying, the Black Lives Matter movement. It may continue to fuel, you know, us getting voters out to vote, you know what I'm saying, in November. It may continue to keep us fired up, you know, because we, you know, let's face it, we've been here before, we've rallied, we've protested, you know, we've done this before. And typically the trends show that after 30 days or even a couple of weeks, everything kind of goes back to where it was. So, you know, maybe this will keep us fueled up and, you know, keep us on high alert, you know. So if you want to flip it and pull something positive out of it, that would be the thing I would say, because it, like David says, like now we're all watching like what's going to happen next. No one's letting their guard down. So this is the first time I've really seen in my generation, I've really seen this type of movement in the Black community, like the consistency, but not only the Black community, even, you know, our allies are stepping up and saying like, look, enough is enough. We're tired, you know. So maybe that's the positive that will come out of this, because he'll keep pissing people off and we'll go harder.
So what do you like? We're embarking on, you know, Juneteenth, you know, and the only you don't really have freedom until you have financial freedom, which was stated earlier.
That part.
You know, so we've been free now, and we've done some things, we've had some strides, but now we're coming to this digital age, you know, and a lot of people are saying this is the best time to be alive because, you know, the slate is clear, you know, it's a blank slate, you know what I mean? So now with technology, it's like the playing fields are level because everybody is having to start from zero, pretty much in a sense, but you're basically starting with the resources you have, the contacts you have, the information and the know-how you have. You know, so with your conference, like, you know, how do we start? How do we jumpstart? And what is like some first steps that you would recommend as, you know, financial advisors, financial experts, you know, for people to jumpstart their business, their career, because, you know, a lot of people are being laid off, have been laid off, and are going to be laid off, you know, in the coming months. So, you know, what are some things that you can, some nuggets that you will, or some keys that, you know, you can give to the people to kind of jumpstart their career now that we have this digital age and this level playing field?
Yeah. So I would say two things to that. Number one, and I want to just real quick talk about the racial wealth gap and the digital divide, because I still think that although technology is definitely removing some barriers, when we look at barriers to access, you have things like transportation, you have things like childcare, you have all of those different barriers that sometimes prevents individuals from going out and working the way that they want to work, to getting even to their job. I mean, you know, Black people, we rate pretty much the lowest in pretty much every category across the board. So we still have the racial wealth gap and the digital divide. That's an issue. And there's a new issue that's boiling up. And that is the digital divide. There are learning curves as it relates to technology. We were just on a panel last night, David and I, and we were talking about technology, and it is great and everything, but holding our nonprofit organizations accountable and the people who's getting this pass-through money, who's supposed to be delivering this culturally relevant programming and education, they have to, like, that stuff is so antiquated. They need to be able to move that stuff up to relevant times to be teaching technology in those different environments so that we can play in this space, because there still is a digital divide that's taking place as it relates to technology. And then the other thing I'll say about that is that we cannot forget about our senior population, because those individuals are not playing in this space. Those individuals, we have literally, even since COVID-19, we have wrapped around 3 or 4 times amongst our seniors, you know what I'm saying, in our communities who don't have access. I'll give you one specific example about the digital divide. I'll use my son, my family as an example. My son goes to Gahanna school districts in Ohio, which is a kind of suburban school district, if you will. And my nephew goes to Columbus, a public school district. And my son came home at COVID-19 with his notepad, all of his technology that equipped him so that he can go, you know, into COVID-19 and still be able to do classroom learning, distant learning. Where my nephew, Columbus Public Schools District, he didn't get his Chrome pad until almost a month into COVID-19. You know what I'm saying? So here he is, not learning, not connecting, losing off on that social, that education, that learning aspect for a whole 30 days, whereas my son had that opportunity because of his school district. So that digital divide is still critically important, and we can't forget, you know what I'm saying, about that piece there, because it's still going to keep people in a position where they're not going to be able to move as fast. But technology definitely does break down some barriers. You know, we just have to hold those accountable to make sure the information and the knowledge and the resources getting to the people, to the masses.
Yeah, and I would those are all great points that Brandy brought up. And I feel like with technology has allowed us to control our own story. We can now start to put out the stories, and I definitely appreciate what you're doing, Rick, and you know that whole movement of just telling our story. Because I had a older white gentleman ask me to dinner after we just met in a grocery store because he said I was unlike any black person that he knows. And I was like, man, I could have introduced you to thousands. I introduced you to thousands of us. And I was like, so where do you meet these black people at? He was like, well, I don't really meet them. I don't have anybody in my church or anything like that, or in my family. I said, okay, so where are you getting the information? And he was like, well, you know, television, movies, and things of that nature. I was okay. I was like, so what percentage of media-owned companies is black? He was like, yeah, I don't know. And I'm like, it's less than 1%, you know? So you got 99% of people outside of our population telling our story. Of course, you're going to see all the things in the media because I don't get a chance to tell you. So I think the beautiful thing about this conference and summit is we're able to tell our story. We're able to feature people like you, and you know, we're gonna run this back in September. Rick, we would love to have you on there as well. In September, we're gonna start doing these quarterlies, but we gotta tell the story. We gotta get this out here. We gotta be the one that controls this narrative and all of this stuff. And it was a lot of black inventors, a lot of black business owners and stuff that I never even heard of before. It's like, how do I not know this? That's inspiring. That's motivating. Like I get to see somebody other than, no offense to my athletes and entertainers, but I can't sing, I can't rap, and I'm 5'9", I can't dunk, you know, so that I can't do that. But what I can do is learn a skill set, execute it. And as long as I got a mentor and somebody showing me what to do, I can do exactly what a Rick does. I can do exactly what a Sonya does. So I think that technology, we just have to use it to really get out there. And while we're scrolling on Facebook and IG and all that, how much good content are they seeing?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
How much good content are they seeing opposed to, we know, all this other stuff out here? So that's my take on the whole technology. We just got to use it to really get our message out there.
I think.
And I'll just say one more thing. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I'll just say one thing about just, you know, Rick said, you know, drop a key for your listeners is, I would say the first key in all of this, and this is the first key, keys to Black wealth. We have seven keys to Black wealth that we focus on and that our platform stands on, and we believe that will get you to Black wealth. And that's awareness. That's the first key to the wealth gap, to the digital divide, is financial awareness. There's so many tools and regulations, tools and resources out here. There's money, there's the blockchain, there's cryptocurrency, now there's credit. I mean, there's just so many different tools and resources as it relates to currency and wealth. And you have to be aware. And that's the first key of getting to wealth, is being financially aware. Because if you don't even know it exists, you're not even you can't even play. You can't participate if you're not even aware that these resources are even readily available at our fingertips. So that would be the first key to Black wealth, is financial awareness.
Yeah, and I would definitely say to that, you know, as well, if you did not catch the New Code of Wealth last week where we had Dr. Mike Roberts, you want to go back after you listen and like and share this one, go and listen to that one, because when I tell you Dr. Roberts was dropping some nuggets around AI, around blockchain, around new currency, digital currency, and how the thing for me, when I think about this digital age that we've been ushered into, like really in some people's case thrown into, you know, it's like it moves so fast. Like we saw that, and what's going to happen is blockchain is poised to do what the internet did for communication. So imagine that, let that sink in, and imagine what life was like before the internet. And to understand now life with blockchain and how fast it's moving. And that's where I really like to, you know, encourage our viewers and listeners that, you know, the world is not hurting as a, you know, the world and money is moving. You know, we just quoted, I think it was $528 billion was made in 2 months and by billionaires, like 25 billionaires or something. You know, it's like we have this false sense because we can insulate ourselves with, you know, our community that seems like we're all, you know, hurting or financially deprived or something. And that is not the case, you know, in the world. And it's certainly not from a digital standpoint, because the global reach and you know, I call it the eighth wonder of the world. It's just digital currency, and moving digital allows you to reach, you know, it's no brick and mortar. It's global. It's all night, every day, 24/7. You know, it's like it hits. And that's why when you look at that, like how do we make $528 billion? And I want people to hold on to that number, because as a Black community, total 13% Black community, we spend $1.3 trillion every year. Like all of us, all of us, $1.3 trillion. And you have half of that made in 2 months by like 25 people. So
Crazy.
it's crazy. And so it's like, so we got to really understand, and we got to follow the numbers. And in this season, you know, when we have everybody writing checks and everybody wanting to help Black Lives Matter, we got to even hold them accountable. Is your check big enough for what we really have brought to your, you know, like,
Right.
so
really big
like,
check. I need a really. I don't be coming over here with those 5 figures, not even a 6 figure, 7. I need 8 and higher.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, you know, we can't be, oh, thank you. You know, we know what we bring to consumerism, and we gotta, you know, really take a hold of that, and then we gotta act like we know that power looks like. And so, you know, we definitely, you know, anybody want to sign up to be on the watch committee with me, you know, let me know, because I'm following the money, and anybody that didn't write a check during this season, we need to know afterwards, and we don't need to be they're not on the right side of this.
Exactly.
So
I love it. So, you know, with that being said, I think that's a great point Sonia makes about, you know, the $565 billion that have been made, you know, and money is still moving. Money is never depleted. It just transfers. So money is energy, so it just transfers. So we have to forecast where this money is being transferred and where it's going now. So with that being said, where do you guys see the opportunities now? Like how are you guys forecasting, like where to capitalize, you know, as financial experts, as financial advisors? What are some things you're telling your clients on how to capitalize on opportunities now in the digital age that we've entered into?
Yep. So, I mean, it just, I tell people first, like we see all these different things, right? Some people say, get into Forex. Some people say, get into real estate. Some people say, get into stocks. Some people say, get into this, get into this, and this. And people ask me all these questions. I said, first, you got to figure out what you want, when you want it, how you want it, what's the work you're going to put up into it, what's the learning curve you're willing to do. Because I can tell you to do X, Y, and Z, but me, I'm not a day trader. I'm not about to sit in front of the computer all day long trying to day trade. So if somebody try to bring that to me, I'm like, I'm cool. I'm cool on that, right? I don't see it. I'm not going to put the work into it. I think a lot of times people would check for like a Sonia, like, ooh, I love those buildings she got. Let me see if I can go do that without figuring out what a Sonia did. You know what I'm saying? Without figuring out, oh, I love to see those movies, not figuring out what a Rick did. So I just tell people, it's cool that you want to be an entrepreneur. It's cool that you want to invest in stocks. It's cool that you want to do this. But you need to really figure out what it's going to take, and are you willing to do that? Because if you're not willing to do that, then all this advice is pointless that I'm trying to give you. Who's going to be running in circles, right? So figure out what your interest is. If you're interested in real estate, then now it's time to go get some real estate people that you can talk to. Don't ask me about it because that's not my lane. Like, people be messaging me, forward you to somebody else. Let's get intentional. Like the book Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, talks about being intentional, finding your mentors, intentional, finding your friends. So I would encourage people, whatever your interest is, whether it's stocks, whether it's media, whether it's real estate, you got to be intentional in finding the people that you want to talk to. And it's not Google. Maybe you Google them to see who they are, but you got to reach out to these people, attend these events, get on these, like this summit. I mean, with the platform, somebody can run. If you pop into the networking room, they can meet at Sonia for a quick 3 minutes and I'm asking you 10 questions right on my list. Like, hey, you know, I want to hear you talk, but I need to ask you these questions because I know I only got that time. So I would just encourage people to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I had a mentor I had talked to right when COVID-19 happens, and she works in government. And one thing that she said to me is those who's going to win, those who's going to be successful at the end of all of this are those who's able to forecast and anticipate what the needs are going to be after this crisis. So that's after all of this. You have to be able to anticipate the needs, which means that you got to be a part of it right now. You got to be engulfed in it. It's not easy. This is not an easy journey for any of us. I mean, you know, all of us successful entrepreneurs, but it has been hard. I already know. I don't even know your story, but I know you done been through something in this journey in life, because that's just what life does. I mean, it throws you lemons, and you got to be able to put that, you know what I'm saying, sugar in there and make some lemonade with it.
And that's
But,
what you know, if it's been all good, I can't, you know, I don't really, you ain't really got
There's no testimony without a test. There's no testimony without a test. You can't skip the test part.
In 07 and 08 when the real estate thing was, I want to know that, you know, like.
Exactly.
Right. That's why they say experience is a cruel teacher, because it gives you the lesson first. So, you know, you got to, and right now we're in the lesson right now, but you got to be able to anticipate those needs. And I think that it has to, you got to be involved. You have to research. Again, one thing that I think that we've been so successful, just to specifically address your question, is because we know who we are and we know our brand. So, and that's, you know, we all have personal brands as well. So even if you are a solopreneur, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're just an individual just trying to get your wealth, you have to know what your intentions are. You have to know what you want. What are your goals? We always start with that vision in mind, start with the end results in mind, and then you work backwards. Oftentimes we sit here and we're imagining and we're like, oh, you know, we want, look, what does it look like? You know, I always talk to my clients when they're interested in purchasing a home and I'm helping them out with their credit or their personal finances. I always start is, do you want wood or carpet? And what school district do you want? Mm-hmm. Why? Because we need to be able to work towards that goal. Because otherwise you can end up anywhere if you don't know specifically where you're trying to go. So always start with the end result in mind, see that complete vision, and then you work from that goal backwards. And then it's all about being intentional. Everything that you do, it leads up to that. So you have to be laser focused. Even when you're financial planning and you start off, the first thing we say is start with the foundation. Why? Because if the house crumbles, then your foundation is still standing. So you always build from the bottom up. You have to have clear goals in mind. You have to have clear vision. And then also you need to rally up and partner up with some people who's on the same mission as you, because oftentimes, especially in our community, there's a lot of people doing the same thing. There's a lot of silos. That is going to be really pivotal for us. Even with the bag, we could see it. I mean, Sawyer, you just said it. Rick, you just said it. We know the money is out there. It's the transfer of money, transfer of energy, how you just described it, which is so perfect. But we have to rally up because there's power in numbers and we're already a minority. So you can't go into this battle alone. You have to partner up with individuals. One thing with Keys to Black Wealth, when we first came here, we said, okay, great. This is our mission. We understand that. We believe in this. What are we willing to sacrifice to be able to get what we want? And we all have to sacrifice things. You know, we contractually have to sacrifice things. And we did that because we know together, you know, we're moving by ourselves, but we're going to be a force when we're together. And that's something as a community, as a culture.
I'm saying my keys. Where's my keys at, Brandon? I'm supposed to be dropping keys on you right now, man.
I'll be dropping all kind of keys. That's it. I mean, you know, that's it. I mean, we're a movement by ourselves, but together, man, we could do so much more. Like now, I mean, you know, Rick and I, like that's been my people for years now. Sonya, you know, my sword. Now it's like, wow, Keys to Black Wealth now meets like Rick Mathis and Sonya Booker. Like just imagine what we could do together. But you have to be in a mindset to be able to say we're open to share. Like our platform is group economics. That whole entire summit, like we're sharing the revenue. Everybody gets paid off of it. It's a revenue share. We're giving back to the Black community. It's not just about us. Everybody eats. Everybody wins at the table, period. And once we manifest that mindset as a culture, then we can elevate ourselves and we'll be untouchable.
Love it. I love it. Unity. Once again, you're watching the New Code of Wealth with Rick Mathis and Sonya Booker. We have about 10 minutes left, you know, before it's time for us to wrap up. So how can people, number one, get in touch with you guys as the Keys of Black Wealth, and also, you know, get engaged with the conference?
Okay. So yeah, so we're on all social media platforms. Social media is big now. You used to ask a female for a number, now you ask her for an IG, right? Like that just switched up everything now.
Right.
Let me get your LinkedIn profile, right? So you can find us on all social media platforms, Keys to Black Wealth. You know, find us on Facebook, find us on Instagram. Yeah, we're out there. As far as the summit goes in particular, keys to black wealth summit.com. It will have all 40 plus speakers listed on there. You could, vet out these speakers and see what interests you. The beautiful thing about the summit is we got something for everybody. I don't care what you want. If you just want to hear some dope DJs and party, we got that for you too, But if you want to meet people, if you want to, just get the information on real estate, social media marketing, I feel like we have, all topics covered. So whatever somebody's they're gonna be able to get from this summit.
Yeah.
Intellectual property, I think is huge. Before we go to Brandy, give her information. How do you, David, define wealth? Like, how do you define that?
So I look at wealth as if you die, can you pass that on? That's just that's how I look at it, because it's really simple to me. So like credit score is nice, right? But I can't inherit my grandfather's credit score. I love my degree. It sits up there nice, but I can't get that degree to my son, right? So I look at some things that can help you get to wealth, but is not wealth, right? We know that Black females, fastest growing group of entrepreneurs, but they also have the most student loan debt at the same time too, which then takes away from their wealth, right? So I just say, can I inherit it?
Yeah, that's a great definition now.
Too much energy for the internet.
Too much energy. They're trying to shut us down.
They tried it. They tried it, right.
The devil working.
That's why I said they tried it.
Yeah, I look at it as I think it's easy to explain to people if you just say, is it inheritable?
Mm-hmm. I love that definition, and I ask that because I always think people have to have their own definition, and notice you didn't start out with money. It's not $1 million. It's not this. It's not that. And so I think that's important with people when you're like, I can't build no wealth. So and it's like that's a mindset. That's a lifestyle. That's what you can pass down. And so it makes it easy. So Brandy, what about you? Your wrap up, your information, and then define wealth for us at the end.
Yes. So first of all, I got to get a shout. There is 4 of us. So I got to shout out our co-founders because without them, this whole brand and everything. So it's 4 founders, Frank Cage and Lamar Pugsley. And David and myself as well. So we are a group of 4, a joint venture. Frank Cage, he handles all of our brand, everything that you see. He's dope, he's fire. And then Lamar Pugsley, he's our CMO, our Chief Marketing Officer. He also handles all of our brand placement, as well as our social media, strategic content, all of the above. So first of all, shout out to our co-founders out there. Again, you can find us on IG as well, Keys to Black Wealth, and then definitely check out the summit. We want everyone to come and get the keys. It's going to be 3 days of just life-changing information, straight key dropping, straight transfer of knowledge and information, which when you talk about wealth, that's a part of it as well, transferring knowledge and information as well. And to define wealth for me, it's really about living that lifestyle that you desire. It's about, having choices and options. I mean, that's really what wealth and financial freedom is having choices and options. It can be simple as going to purchase a new vehicle and not having to choose from all the lemons on the lot, being able to choose from the other cars that you may desire to have as well. So for me, that's what it is. It's about lifestyle. It's about choices and options. And it's about being able to, live the life that we deserve to live. I mean, when God created us, he said that, all of this, we have dominion over this land. So that's how we're supposed to be living. You're not supposed to be beggars and borrowers to the dollar. We're supposed to live in abundance. So, once we are able to get that mindset in our head, then I think we'll be able to experience wealth as a people and individually.
So if we was at our I would drop that Jim Jones ballin', and talk about what she want to live there, that's so for people to get our events, you're gonna get the whole little edutainment feel on it. So
I love
that right there.
I love it. And before Rick close us out, I think that is so, everything that you said here is so key. And, I have my trauma story about buying my first car that wasn't given to me, by a family member. And I remember being traumatized, and it was the first time I realized that that I had bad credit. And I left the lot. I mean, like, imagine going to buy a car and you're there like all day.
Yep.
All all day you're trying to buy a car, right? You know, and then finally somebody come out and they're like, well, you could get the white one or the, but I wanted this, you know?
Right.
You get that, you know? And I left there in that white car and I vowed, next time I buy a car, I will tell you what I'm buying and I will get exactly what I want. I was like, that was the last time, you know, that I was going to be in that.
Like Focus or something? Was it like Focus or something?
Focus, Ford Focus.
My Honda Civic.
Mine was
My Honda Accord, you know, it had a sunroof, baby. It was like, it was lit. But, you know, and that really, you know, it's those turning moments of like, what? You know, I got to take this. I work every day. I do this, you know. And, you know, and it became a lifestyle. And the way that I define wealth is living well today while planning for your future. And it's very relative. Living well is relative. My living well, 5-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 2,000 square feet, you know, it's all relative. So you really do have to define those things that in your present, you know, how does that work out in your present? Because that helps you to make a lot of decisions. And then while planning for the things that matter, you know, for your future, if I have a small child and I have, you know, I'm planning for him, I'm planning to live well in my retirement, I'm planning for my mom's future, I'm planning for, then all of my decision making starts to be governed by some order in my life to say, does that matter to my future? No, so I'm not gonna do that. You know, and so you gotta like really put together some things that you can, your own wealth building creed that you can live by. And I also encourage people to go to my website at soniabooker.com and download a free copy of the 7 Basic Truths of Wealth Building. And read that and register for this Black Keys to Wealth Summit. Oh my gosh. I mean, even the stuff that I'm going to be talking about there, never before. It's like fire because it's time. And so I am looking forward. And so I think I'm Saturday, but you'll have to catch me. And
Saturday.
that I have,
You in prime time on Saturday too.
Yeah,
You gotta bring it. You prime time on Saturday, so you gonna have to bring it.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. And then Rick Mathis, you're gonna take us home.
Yeah, definitely, man. Just to kind of veggie back, if you will. You know, I'm vegetarian, so I don't say pig.
Me too.
Veggie back.
Kind of veggie back on what Sonia just said and echo. You know, it's time.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, right now, it's an economic warfare. Whether you know it or not, whether you are conscious of it or not, you know, we're at war. It's economic warfare. So it's more important now than ever that, for one, we group together. You know, one of the former presidents once said, the biggest threat to America is the unification of Black people.
Yep.
You know, like, if we could just unite, if we could just learn to trust each other, if we could just learn how to work with each other, we would take over America overnight. Because we are the biggest consumers, but we're also the biggest contributors. You know, we are the biggest content creators. You know, we are the most creative. You know, the world vibrates and listens to our songs, our movies. We control media in terms of creating it. But in terms of the residuals and the billions and trillions that are made, you know, that's something that we have to work on. Right. So number one, we definitely have to learn to unify and work together. That's why I'm so proud of you guys for creating this online conference, which I feel is going to be even bigger than, you know, doing a tour, because now you can reach people worldwide. You know, you can reach people in the continents of Africa, which is important that we, you know, unify with them as well. But you can reach people in London. You can reach people all over with your message. All they have to do is tap in. So we have to understand the power in that, and we have to understand the importance of unification. You know, Dr. Boyce Watkins and Dr. Claude Anderson was just speaking. Sonia and I was talking about it prior to the show. And Dr. Claude Anderson was talking about the importance of us doing this now. Because if we don't do this now, then the forecast says that we could easily revert back to slavery. You know what I'm saying? Because Slavery was abolished except when a person commits a crime. If you look at that, the 13th Amendment, you know what I'm saying? So if you take away all of our resources and all of our options in order to make money, then what happens? Most people revert to crime in order to feed their family. When if we just group together and build together and circulate that $1.3 trillion in our community, then that's our answer right there. Dr. George Fraser once said, it's easy to break a finger, but it's hard to break a fist. That's unification right now. So let's put that black fist in the air and let's unify and let's do it, people. I believe in you. I love you. You know, this has been a great show today, you know, with the Keys of Wealth, with Sonia Booker. You know, I'm Rick Mathis. Shout out to Munson Steve and the entire Rolling Out family.
Rolling out.
Join us again next week. Think we cracked the code, Sonia.
I think we did it. I think it's time to build wealth. $1, one decision at a time. See you at the summit.
I love it.
See you guys. Thank you.